I think I understand how the Incas disappeared. Chizhatnikov, a half-naked, dark-skinned man, slowly climbed to the top of a grotesque pyramid-like altar, thereby demonstrating his importance, and looked at his fellow tribesmen with a crazy gaze from his half-blind eyes. The entire tribe gathered at the altar on this sacred day. "Tribe of the Sun," he began, waving his arms. "I address you. A great day has come for all of us. According to the ancient prophecies of our ancestors, today the gates of heaven will open, and the gods will descend upon us to test the strength of our warriors." He pointed his crooked finger at a group of young men with spears. "You, warriors of the sun, have been given a rare honor that we receive only once every 500 years. The future of the tribe depends on you. You must prove to the gods that we are their best sons and daughters, or we will be punished like the tribe of the moon. But before the gods descend upon us, you must sprinkle this altar with your blood. Come to me, brave and courageous warriors of the sun. Come to me and spill the blood boiling in your veins. Sprinkle this sanctuary." 12 warriors with painted faces began to climb the stone steps of the altar up to the sacrificial table. An odd number of red feathers were woven into their long hair, and each held a spear in their right hand. Once at the top of the altar, the warriors surrounded the sacrificial slab. Meanwhile, the priest's lips twisted in prayer. He ordered the warriors to extend their left hands toward the altar so that their palms faced the sky, where the gods watched over them. As soon as they obeyed, the priest began to carve a sign of the sun on each palm with a knife made of volcanic glass. When the palms of all 12 were stained red, they pressed them simultaneously against the sacrificial slab, leaving 12 bloody imprints with the sign of the sun in the middle. In response, a short beam of light shot up from it, like a signal to the gods. A signal that said their creations honored traditions, believed in them, and awaited their return. Now, O brave warriors of the sun, leave the altar and wait for your hour below, and pray to the gods, for their arrival is near. The wind whispers it, the birds sing it, and the water murmurs it. The priest looked down at his fellow tribesmen. But to appease the gods, we must not simply sprinkle the sacrificial slab. We must pour blood on it, pure and innocent blood. And immediately after his words, the chosen one began to climb the stone steps, accompanied by 3 men, with difficulty moving his huge feet. The chosen ones of the Sun tribe were those born with the kiss of the gods, a birthmark on their backs. The chosen did not work in the fields or participate in raids on other tribes. No one could order them to work, not even the chief. They were untouchable. They were always fed the best food, so they often became so fat that they could not move on their own. In such cases, servants were assigned to the chosen. The only thing forbidden to the chosen ones was intimacy. However, they had enough entertainment until the moment they had to be sacrificed, and not only on great days like this, but even on those when the tribe simply needed rain. Accompanied by strong men, the chosen one struggled to climb to the top of the altar. His heart beat wildly against his fat-covered ribs. But then he lay down on the sacrificial slab, his sides hanging over the edges, and he felt better. "O almighty gods of the sun," began the priest, stretching out his hands toward the sun. "We thank you for your kindness and mercy, which you bestow upon us every moment of our lives. For the good harvests in our fields and the game in our forests. For easy victories in battle. For the strength of our warriors, for healthy children and parents, for the water that falls from the sky and moistens the earth, for the warmth and light that descend from above. So accept our sacrifice in your honor." The priest clasped the knife with both hands, raised it above the chosen one's chest, and thrust it forcefully into the trembling flesh. The sharp edges of the stone easily pierced the sweat-soaked skin and the fat beneath it. A stream of blood spurted from the wound. The priest struck 2 more blows. He knew where to strike so that the victim would remain alive as long as possible and continue to bleed. The chosen one screamed in pain. He tried to get up, but it was beyond his strength. And besides, 2 men from the escort held his arms and pressed him down. The priest carefully stuck the sharp corner of the stone into the solar plexus and, sliding down to the feet, slowly ripped open the stomach. The chosen one was still alive, his blood flooding the top of the altar. The crimson streams behaved as if they were alive or enchanted. They writhed and crawled forward to the nearest crack, into which they then crawled like worms. Multicolored rays began to shine through the body of the chosen one from the altar into the sky. The priest immediately drove away the extra tribesmen from the altar and began to dance around it, scooping blood from the chosen one's belly and sprinkling it on the altar. Each drop was absorbed into the stone, leaving no trace behind. Somewhere deep inside the altar, something clicked, creaked, and then a humming sound was heard, as if a huge mechanism had started working. The people standing at the foot of the altar stared spellbound at the jumping priest. Each of them was afraid. They had never met the gods before. This uncertainty made their knees buckle and sent an unpleasant chill down their spines. Everyone knew from childhood that, in addition to the good gods of the sun, there were many evil ones who sometimes pretended to be good. What if these evil gods came down to them now? The air changed, thickened, and became heavy. With each breath, people's throats began to itch. The trees swayed from side to side, dropping their leaves. The leaves, as it seemed to some of the tribe's warriors, they were the only ones who did not look at the priest, began to gradually change color. They took on new shades. One such leaf crumbled into small pieces right in the air in front of one of the warriors. Animals ran away from these places. Birds flew away, screaming something in their own language. The sky burst with thunder. Dozens of lightning bolts cut through it like cracks that cut through ice in spring. Bright white balls the size of sparrows flashed above the altar, causing people to fear and panic. They instantly changed their flight path, flying close to the priest, and then rushing upward or to the side again. With each approach, the priest felt the heat emanating from them. The air stung his lungs more and more, but he tried not to pay attention to it. Large beads of sweat appeared on his forehead, and his eyes watered from the bright light. He stood frozen to the spot. He was blinded by the light of the deity descending from the sky. Several balls plunged into the crowd at the foot of the altar. One of them touched the leg of a man with a strand of gray hair on his head. The man felt nothing, but a burn mark remained on his leg. Another ball froze for a few seconds near the face of an infant, then flew upward. The mother thought it was a good sign, and that her child would have the honor of becoming famous in military campaigns. But when she turned his head toward her, she realized she was wrong. The baby was dead, his face covered with sores. Another terrifying clap of thunder rang out, and an elliptical cloud of blinding light descended to the ground. Oh gods! The priest rushed down from the top of the altar, jumping 5 steps at a time. Once on the ground, he fell to his knees and crawled toward the cloud that had landed. 12 warriors of the Sun tribe followed his example. O gods of the Sun tribe, he cried with all his might. We have been waiting for this day, when you would descend to your creations. The priest had almost reached the cloud when another gust of wind tore 2 black strands of hair from his head and threw them back. But he did not notice. He managed to crawl another meter before the nail on his index finger fell off. Seeing this, the priest screamed, and in an instant, a sharp pain pierced his entire body. He fell on his side and curled up into a ball. With his next scream, teeth fell from his mouth. The 12 brave warriors of the sun began to cough uncontrollably, spitting out clots of blood and fragments of their lungs. They all writhed like worms as their bodies were racked by unbearable muscle spasms, as if their muscles were being turned inside out. It was as if every cell in their bodies had decided to live independently of the rest and was now separating, preparing to flee. In pain and itching, the 12 warriors began to tear off their ulcerated skin. A small creature crawled out of the white glowing spaceship. It had no legs and moved like a snake using the lower part of its body. It left a trail of blackened grass behind it. The alien pointed its 7-fingered limb, which held a small black tube, at the crowd. The people stood mesmerized by its appearance and did not dare to move. They did not even notice how the wind blew their hair away and new sores blossomed on their irradiated bodies. God. One of the gods of the sun stood before them. The stranger tapped the tube with his 2 free fingers, and a beam of incinerating laser fire rained down on the people. Screams, moans, cries, and radioactive bones began to fly around. The turbines of the spaceship continued to rumble and spew new batches of deadly radiation into the atmosphere, which in the coming hours would destroy all life within a radius of 50 kilometers.